Hi, welcome back. Sorry about the delay in uploads. I've been playing a lot of the new Warhammer 3 Total War game, Total War Warhammer 3, whatever it's called. Um, and I'm going to do a review of that game now that I've got 50 hours into it or so. But for today, I'm going to be talking about a set of skeletons that I'm going to be using in my upcoming Vampire Counts list, and these come from Wargames Atlantic from their classic fantasy range, and they're just called Skeleton Warriors. These are multi-part hard plastic 28mm, as the box says, and they come from their Mortal Gods range, which is, I believe, some sort of skirmish game. I don't know much about it. I bought these just for the use of the skeletons with my vampire counts. And the reason I chose these skeletons is price point, $45 Canadian per box, with discounts starting at 3 boxes and improving per box after that. And you get 32 skeletons per box. The other reason I chose them is that, looking at the picture, I will pull it a little bit closer, they're very plain skeletons. And they have a Greek look. They're very much a nod to the old Jason and the Argonauts, I believe it's called, film from the 60s or something like that, maybe the 70s. Claymation, stop animation, mixed with real life real actors. And it doesn't look so great today, but it's definitely a really iconic film and look that, you know, again, doesn't look as good as our modern stuff, but it really is still just charming, and that's why I like these skeletons. They also just fit really well with 6th edition GW skeletons, in the sense that these are not your 7th edition skeletons. These aren't your Age of Sigmar skeletons. These are very plain, basic ones. And they come with some options. First off, you can see their shields, and there is an option for like a Spartan type head. It's a Greek hoplite, anyways. And anyways, what you get with this is options to make 24 spearmen, 8 swordsmen, and 8 bowmen. And with this kit, I've decided to go with the spearman choice, just because, well, there's 24 of them that I can make, and then there's pieces to make musician, standard, which I'm not going to use their standard, I'm going to use my own. I have other options because of my 3D printing. But yeah, these are really nice basic skeletons. The box is clean, it tells you everything you need to know. It gives you a bit of a little story of what's going on here. Ghosts, the shades of men of Sparta, Athens, Thebes, and Macedon. And there's Necromancer. And yeah, you can play them in this skirmish game that I don't know much about. I know it's a skirmish game set in like the classical period of Greek mythology, and that's about it. The only thing I want to tell everybody who may be interested in buying from this company, Wargames Atlantic does not include bases. What happens is you get 2 types of models from them. You either get your sort of 40k style feet that you then glue to a base with their sci-fi stuff, and in their fantasy and their historicals, you get what you'll see here. I don't know what they're called. It's the little mound at the bottom of their feet. I can get a sprue of this out. There we go. You get 8 sprues. They're exactly the same on every single sprue, and they get these nice stacking pegs. These allow you to very neatly keep them. If you took out a whole bunch, they will neatly stack and just sort of keep your workspace organized. You can see there, nice stack of sprues. So, standing these up. And I'm going to actually take these away to make it easier to see. Yeah, there's not too much to say about the actual skeletons. They're just skeletons. They're human skeletons and weapon options. You do have 3 per sprue that have, as I said, the attached base, and then you have 1 that does not. I do think that's, you know, due to space constraints per sprue. They always use these small sprues, as far as I can tell. If I can move this back a little bit. Yeah, that's better. But it does lead to one guy is not going to have this piece here on his feet, which does mean that when you base these guys, there's going to be one guy that doesn't have a mound underneath his base foliage or whatever however you've decorated them. And to me, that means you do have to do something to build up the base. I mean, it's probably not that big of a deal, but I do like my bases to be uniform. I don't mind, the idea of one guy having something here and there to stand out. Ground doesn't have to be perfectly even, but it still doesn't change the fact that I really wish they were all uniform in that sense. Plus, you now have to build a skeleton that comes in, well, instead of 4 pieces, there is a body, 2 arms, and a head, and then I guess, a shield. So 5 pieces. This guy, he's going to require you to have 2 arms, 2 legs, head, that all have to get glued on, and I haven't tried to put one together yet just because I can tell it's going to be a pain. I'm not a fan of building skeletons. I started vampire counts once a long time ago. I started Tomb Kings twice. The second time, not really. I picked a few things up and then just kind of decided I really didn't want to. But basically every single time I've walked away from it, it has been because of the skeletons. The skeletons are not something I enjoy building. I think single-piece skeletons are ideal, and in this case here, 3 pieces that have to get stuck onto a body, that's pretty good too. Arms and heads are actually really easy to put together on these guys. There's no real trouble I had with them, and the first 24 that I built came out, fine. The sculpts are really nice. The selection of pieces is decent. I do wish there was more, in the sense that, like, maybe instead of 24 spears, give us 16 spears and then bring it up to 12 swords and 12 bows as well. But I mean, again, it was probably just a space thing. But having 12 swords would have been really nice, because then I could have just bought 2 boxes, and with the 32 I could have done 24 with swords and shields. That would have been an option, and it really wasn't here. And if you did do that, you also have the option between 2 boxes of taking 16 from each box and getting 32 spears, and then you'd have 24 swordsmen, and then you can use the last few to make the command team. So I do think that was a bit of a missed opportunity, but for the price point and the quality you're getting, there is no reason to complain. I'm going to be able to put the paint on these guys, all 2 boxes worth, in a day without question. It's going to be literally prime them, hit them with some contrast paints, and just give them a quick dry brush maybe, and then pick out the weapons and the shields. The shields, I will not be using these. I do have some 3D printed undead shields that I'm going to use instead. There's not much else to say about this kit. I I do like it a lot. I think it's one that I would recommend to anybody who's looking to start an undead force of any kind. If you are looking at Tomb Kings, for example, get some 3D printed heads and get some 3D printed shields, and you will have something, as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough, using either the bows or the spears or the swords. You know, all three options there. Yeah, again, like this is about what I can say about them. They're a great kit. A couple of little issues I have with them, and they're overall pretty minor. If I have to, put 8 guys together, sort of, that's not a big deal. And worst case, if I just decide to do something else, I am probably going to just print a few extra skeletons too, just to break up what I have here. But then I just have a bunch of skeleton pieces left over that I can use on terrain, to represent, the dead of war and all that. So that is another thing you can do with these, getting skeleton bits to lay out on your bases and your terrain. It's never a bad thing to have extra pieces like that. So thanks very much for watching. Oh, sorry, you know what? I did miss one thing. I pointed out everything on here except the skulls. I apologize for that. The skulls, you do get 3 plus 1 more basic skulls, 1 with the open mouth, 3 without, and then you get the, right there, the champion head. So yeah, you get plenty of options. You can do 4 basic skulls per sprue. Yeah, so yeah, again, thanks very much for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day.